I thoroughly enjoyed it. I must admit.
Did too.
There we are. Next time I should. I love all those kind of old tunes where it's kind of they're just good old fashioned kind of. You can play any kind of licks, whether you're intermediate sort of guitar player or advanced level guitar, you can kind of find something that'll sort of fit.
Totally. I know, and that's why I use that song to teach a lot, because like you can get in there, you can actually have fun.
Yeah.
Like newer beginner students can really get in there and they're like, it actually sounds like the song.
Yeah. And you're not worried kind of like halfway through thinking, oh my God, there's different keys and I've got to change modes and all this kind of...
Really, and it's a little, it's a little bit of a weird arrangement, but it works.
Yeah. And as everyone will know, basically, I just play everything minor pentatonic, and so I just...
As well you should.
Yeah, and so it's just a question of basically, depending on how much, you just add more distortion and play a bit faster, and then you call that rock, or you add less distortion and play it slower, and then you call it blues.
There you go, absolutely.
Well, look, hey guys, it's Lee from Andertons TV here, and I'm sure this lady doesn't need any introductions. It's Nita Strauss.
Here we are.
With 2 days to go of a mammoth 6-week European clinic tour.
That's right.
With these people.
These guys, the greatest guitars on planet Earth.
Absolutely.
Guitars.
So I thought we'd, do a little interview here. I kind of want to nerd out on gear.
Let's do it.
And as we were talking a little bit beforehand, ever since my little baby girl was born, I kind of want to talk to you about, what are the challenges for women in playing guitar.
Absolutely.
And, anyway, we'll come to that. So
sure.
Tell us a little bit about you as a player then, and how you've ended up
with an Ibanez guitar.
Well, with an Ibanez guitar and touring the world with, one of the iconic kind of, rock legends.
Yeah.
So how did that all... where did it start?
It's really, I think, it's so funny. I always hear people say, oh, wow, this overnight success, Nita Strauss. I'm thinking, that's a long 14 years I was on the road to be overnight. I've been touring since 15. Wow. I'm 29 now, so it's 14 years I've been a touring guitar player. And it's really just about being in the right place and doing a good show every single night. Yeah. The show that I ended up leading to the Alice Cooper gig, I was playing with a band called Femme Fatale. Yep. We were on the Monsters of Rock cruise, with this rock cruise where there's like 40 bands. And Kip Winger was in the audience. Right. And he, of course, played with Alice in the 80s and saw the show and was really, it was really, really cool of him when he found out Alice was looking for a guitar player to say, hey, I saw this girl, you should check her out, to put your name forward. So really, it all boils down to playing every show like it's the show of a lifetime, that somebody's going to be there to see you.
And how old were you when you kind of first got your first guitar?
I was 13. I started out playing drums, and I was terrible. Right. And I switched to bass, and bass just didn't hold my interest. Yeah. And then I picked up the guitar. And it wasn't until I saw the movie Crossroads that I really had that, aha. Oh, that's what I'm supposed to be doing. Okay, I got it. I had my first...
Ralph Macchio.
Ralph Macchio, but that wasn't the magical one.
Oh, okay.
No, Ralph Macchio was not the one who started my love of the guitar. What started it, really put it all into perspective, was the scene at the end. Right. With the great Steve Vai.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm 100% sure if I hadn't seen that, I wouldn't be sitting here with you today.
I thought all this close. Isn't that one of those? I'm trying to think. I think it's one of those guitar films I've never even seen. But aren't they all the really?
You've never seen Crossroads?
No, but people would say about there's the really bad.
I'm leaving you guys.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Sorry.
This has been nice. You've never seen Crossroads?
I think Spinal Tap's like the only kind of guitar movie I've ever seen.
Okay.
Tell me about it.
Okay, so it's the story of the journey of a young guitar player who's played by Ralph Macchio, the Karate Kid. And in his journey to becoming the guitar player that he wants to be in life, he goes to hell. Right. Like we all do.
So it's the Robert Johnson story.
Yeah. Well, it's a variation of the Robert Johnson story. I'm not going to spoil it. You have to see it. And all you guys, if there's anybody that hasn't seen Crossroads, come on. You guys are all guitar players. Let's do this properly here, shall we? But in his journey towards becoming growing into himself, finding himself as a guitar player, he goes to hell. Yeah. And he has this incredible guitar battle against the devil's guitar player, who's played by Steve Vai. And I saw Vai in this movie, and I just sat bolt upright, and I was like, that's what I'm supposed to be doing. I had the little Squire Jumpstart pack, like they still sell today. Yep. And of course, by the way, guys, you can't flutter on those. I tried. Of course, the first thing I did was try to get these Vai tricks. Wow. Can't really do it on
No,
this
it doesn't
track.
really work on this.
But I've spent my whole career as a guitar player trying to be as cool as Steve Vai was in Crossroads.
All I know about that film is people say that they're obviously you see kind of like the faraway shot of
Ralph Macchio playing, and it's actually really
and then
nice,
there's like a
really
close up
well
of like a completely different hand, obviously, which is Steve Vai's hand allegedly.
Yeah, that I'm not sure who's. I imagine it was Steve Vai's. I heard that it was him that played all the really complex stuff in it, and it was Ry Cooder that played the blues.
Oh wow,
blues part. So a little.
Well, we like him.
Little Crossroads trivia.
Cool.
Really works.
So I can't believe that you were literally from a year you're touring essentially
2 years,
with a
yeah.
band. Oh, 2 years
Yeah,
after,
2 years
which is
after
crazy.
me.
And when you say touring, what are you talking like giving up school and going for it? Or
I did the first few tours I did were in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
We did Vans Warped Tour, stuff like that.
This is with which band? This is
just local bands that I was
okay.
in. Nobody big. My own, writing my own music,
Yeah.
playing my own music. Lying to bands about how old I was, and just growing into. I would literally step on stage with any band that would have me. I didn't care if it was rock, death metal, pop, jazz. No, I haven't done any jazz, but I would fake it.
Yeah.
Playing with a DJ, playing with a cover band, which I did for many years. Anything just to get me on a stage and get me doing what I love and perfect my craft.
I think everyone would say that, wouldn't they? I mean, I remember starting, I think I was probably 13, 14, similar age, and 16, 17 years old, joined a band, and that kind of first, and I joined a band as well, and this is my tip to you, I joined a band where the other guitar player was way better than I was.
It's a great way, 'cause it's a great way to get better. Courtney from the Iron Maidens was like that with me.
Right.
I was like, I'm in a band with her, we were like pretty, she's really good at some things, I'm really good at other things, but our styles complement each other really well. It's great to be in a band with somebody you
the
can learn
learning accelerates so fast when pressure's on, isn't it? Absolutely. I say pressure's on, most of the gigs I did was like 3 guys in a dog watching, but there's still
Sometimes
pressure.
that's more pressure than thousands of people. If there's only a few people saying they're watching, then you can see the whites of all their eyes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So, okay, so you've done the band thing. When was the first big break then was this cruise that you were on when Kip Winger saw you? Or you were
I was doing a lot of stuff before then. Yeah,
So
where
was the
Jermaine
first
Jackson's
big break
band. That was probably the first big one that I did. That was in 2010. I was playing in Jermaine Jackson's band. And that was a totally different experience.
Yeah.
Playing, going from being just like a shred kid from Santa Monica, just like sitting in my room playing Malmsteen songs and, touring with metal bands and playing Iron Maiden songs and this kind of stuff, to going out and, playing funk songs, playing iconic, with a great funk band. We had a lot of Michael Jackson's band in the group, and Mike Scott, playing guitar. He was the other guitar player, and Mike Scott, of course, can play more with one note on one string than I can play with every demented arpeggio that I know. And that's such a great education. It's like you say, playing with guitar players that are, that can teach you a lot. And I learned a lot from Mike Scott on that, on those shows.
So that takes us kind of, so you did the Jermaine Jackson thing, and then
the Iron Maidens for a while.
Maidens, yeah.
The all-female tribute to Iron Maiden. Really, really great band. And again, it's such a great education.
What's your nickname in that band?
Mega Murray.
That's it,
Yeah,
Mega
I was
Murray.
Dave. Mega Murray. There's not really a good female, Courtney's Adriana Smith.
Yeah.
They've got Nikki McBrain and Steph Harris, but Dave doesn't really have and of course Bruce Chickinson.
Right, okay.
But it's kind of hard to make a good female name out of Dave.
Yes.
So I got Mega Murray.
Well, that's
found
fine.
that one. But it's such a great education, Lee, getting inside the head of your favorite guitar players. I always encourage people at my clinics and, students and stuff to really learn the solos of these iconic players. If you love Slash, or if you love Vi, or if you love Marty Friedman, learn a Megadeth solo or learn a Guns N' Roses solo all the way through.
Yeah.
So that way you can really see where that song came from, where the licks come from. Not just like, I love this one lick.
Yeah.
But how you go into it and how you get out of it, and really, structurally, it helps so much.
Yeah.
And that was a great education for me, playing those Iron Maiden tunes.
Oh, I bet it was. Yeah,
Absolutely.
So how much teaching? Do you still do teaching?
I don't anymore.
No.
No. I'm thinking about, now maybe doing some Skype stuff now that I've got time. But I don't know. I haven't really gotten into that world yet. I'm a little hesitant you know, and I know we're going to talk about the female guitar player
Yeah.
thing. I don't want it to be creepy. Like, I don't want to Skype with people I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, but I already have a separate Skype account for interviews and stuff, so I could use that one.
Oh, cool.
And, but I don't want to, I don't know, I have some weird idea about Skyping people that I don't know from my hotel rooms, you know.
It always surprises me how many, you know, guitar players that are pretty high profile players who will still say, you know what, I'll do some Skype lessons. You know, it's like, why not?
Yeah. I'll definitely.
Well, I'll put a link in the description section below of any kind of addresses you happy to make public.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, no, cool. So
I think it'd be fun. I really do, because I'm a guitar player's guitar player at heart. I love talking to other people about playing guitar. I love sharing any kind of, you know, little tips or anything I picked up along the way. So I think it would be really fun to teach.
Okay. So let's talk about gear.
Yeah.
Massive gear nerds here, obviously.
And same.
So when did you first come across Ibanez?
I got my first Ibanez maybe around age 18.
Okay.
18 or 19. And, you know, I had so many guitars. I don't know why I didn't have an Ibanez yet, to be perfectly honest with you. Like, you know, I was, like, jumping around. I had a couple ESPs. I had a couple Gibsons. I had a Parker Fly. I had a Washburn. I had a Strat, you know, all these guitars. And, you know, I was touring, you know, all the time playing. And I got an RG 120, which I don't think you guys even have here. It is the cheapest.
I was going to say it's a pretty basic RG model,
it's the cheapest range.
Kind of this shape. But
Yeah, that same shape. It's got a whammy bar, but it doesn't even have a double locking trem. Like it's just got the bar.
Oh, it's got like the basic sort of Strat style.
You know, most basic, no body, no cutaway in the body
Yeah.
for the bridge or anything. And as soon as I picked up this cheap Ibanez, I was like, it was like seeing Crossroads for the first time all over again. I was like, why didn't anybody tell me this was here?
So
like,
what was it that appealed then? Just the skinny neck? Or
it's the neck. It's a lot about the neck
Yeah.
for me. You know, these guitars, this is a Super Wizard profile, Super Wizard neck profile, and it's really flat.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of, even the shred guitars, the Jacksons and the ESPs don't have this really flat profile. And to me, it's like driving a Ferrari. You know, there's a lot of cars that'll get you safely where you need to go and get you there at the time you need to be there. But if you want to get there fast, take the Ferrari. You know, this is my Ferrari. So I love these necks, you know, and it's so easy to play.
Yeah. So you're on S series now.
This is an S series.
Is that like a contour thing? Just feels more comfortable to play, or lighter weight, or?
There's a couple reasons. I do love how thin it is. I love how thin this body is. It's excuse me. It's so light, and I do about 250 shows a year between clinics and Alice shows. So I need something that's light and comfortable. Yeah. And then it's so well balanced, this guitar.
It's important, isn't it? Yeah.
Like, if you hold it at the neck joint, you can probably see on the camera, I'm not even grabbing it, you know. You hold it at the neck joint, it's perfectly balanced.
Yeah.
And that makes such a huge difference. You know, you're not fighting gravity with your guitar all the time, or if you have a Dean, you're not fighting that headstock all the time. And it just stays where you put it.
Yeah.
And then, of course, no discussion of Ibanez guitars would be complete without our friend, the bridge.
Yeah, because they're unique in that if you look at ESPs and Jacksons and stuff like that, most of those guys will use a Floyd.
They use a Floyd
which
Rose,
is cool. You know,
Very
Floyd
cool.
Rose, great. But Ibanez have kind of gone their own way and designed their own
They've designed
trem
their own
systems,
bridge.
haven't they?
Yeah, they've designed their own trem system. This is a ZR, and it's the most stable bridge I've ever used.
Yeah, because you've got if you flip the guitar around, the guys can see you've got. That's a kind of a feat. Here we go. Like I can't remember what they call that.
It's got the thumb screw.
Tremolo lock or trem lock or something.
It's got the ball bearing in it, the zero resistance system.
That's it.
Yeah, it's got that in it, and it's so like you can literally shake this guitar around. I do this on stage all the time. Pick it up and shake it around by the bar.
Still
never goes out of tune.
completely
You know.
Yeah.
You know, you can do anything to these things, and.
Is that the stock pickups in them, or have you played around a little bit changing pickups on guitars?
I change pickups like I change shoes, which is also not that often actually.
So what's in there then?
These are DiMarzio Gravity Storms in this one here, and a True Velvet in the middle. I'm obsessed with the True Velvet pickup. It's amazing.
Yeah.
These ones I change out every once in a while. I'll use Evolutions, or I'll use a Tone Zone and an Air Norton, or a Super 3 and an Evo in the neck. But the True Velvet is the constant. I've actually got one on every single one of my guitars.
I'm really surprised about that, because I own a couple of guitars that are HSH things, and it's like the middle pickup for me is a complete afterthought. I never.
That's a lot of guitar players are like that. Maybe you don't have the right middle pickup.
Where do you use it? You use it on its own, or
I use it on its own. I use it on its own.
Just as what, a clean tone?
Yeah. I use it for clean. It's got a really nice. I can show you here. It's got It's like a lot of clarity in this middle pickup, you know, a lot. And this one also, the great thing about it is we haven't really dialed in the clean sound on this amp, but it doesn't lose a lot of middle pickups a lot of single coil middle pickups lose a lot of their intensity when you get higher up the neck.
Okay.
This one keeps its clarity and it keeps its warmth. You know, it doesn't get tinny like a lot of other ones. So
again, I must have to. I've got a lovely, even on Strats that I've got. I never use that.
Yeah, and I didn't used to either. I use it a lot in the Alice set. I use it on the more vintagey kind of songs. I use it a lot on Welcome My Nightmare.
Yeah.
You know, we've got that kind of. Let's see. You know, and it gives like. You don't want that attack, that modern sounding attack. You wanna warm it out a little bit, and give it that single coil sound. So I use it a lot for that. And then I use it on clean sounds. If you're using an acoustic simulator like an AC3, or I've got one on my Rocktron, and it sounds amazing on those.
And is this the guitar you'll use for pretty much a whole set? Or
this is my main guitar, yeah. If you've seen me play with Alice, or if you've seen any videos on YouTube, chances are this is the guitar.
Yeah. Cool. So you don't use different drop tunings and stuff, and have to swap guitars out during the set? Or?
We do a couple songs in drop D. We're in E flat, so it's drop C sharp. But that's really the only time. And I switch.
more of these, do you, just in different tunings?
Yeah, I switch guitars, from time to time. I use it, and this is actually stock. This isn't a custom shop or anything. You know, this is a stock guitar that Ibanez makes.
Yeah.
I use an S5470.
I can never remember. Is it S5470? No, which
one's
this?
No, this one's not. I don't even know.
Do you know, you've stuck the gaffer tape over where the model number is.
Well, this is my pick holder. See?
Oh, I see. Your highly expensive.
Yeah, my really expensive. Can probably see.
So I will find out the model of that and put it. I think it's an S5 something.
I think it might be a 5470. Well, here's the secret about this, because I'm usually really good about knowing that kind of stuff. I was tricked. Not tricked. A trick implies it was done on purpose. When I asked for this guitar, it was kind of on short notice.
Yeah.
Because I was getting ready to leave on tour with Alice, and I had, the whole thing happened really quickly. It happened in the span of about 3 weeks.
Yeah.
From audition to being on tour, happened in about 3 weeks.
Cool.
And so I called up Ibanez, and I said, I need something, because I was playing RGs. I have my Wild Ninja Turtles RG and my red one and all this stuff. And, the Alice look is really different. They were really pushing me toward a Les Paul.
Right.
And I said, I don't want to play Les Paul. I want to play something I'm comfortable with.
Yeah.
I've been with Ibanez a long time. This is really what I want to play. So I thought I'd compromise by getting a guitar that was more classic looking for them.
Yeah.
So I got the Tobacco Burst S series, and I ended up with this one. I said, what guitar is this? They're like, oh, it's just one that we had here at the shop. I think it's one that we made for somebody and that they didn't pick it up or something. I was like, sweet.
Yeah.
So literally until this tour that I'm on right now, I thought this was a one-off. I thought, oh, I'm the only one that has one. This is so cool. It's not really a custom shop, but it's like a custom shop because it's only mine. And then somebody brought one to one of my clinics for me to sign.
Please sign this.
Yeah.
It's identical.
It is identical.
Damn you,
and then
Ibanez.
I Googled his, and it is exactly the same. I believe, I would have to look again. I believe it's a 5470. I would have to double check that.
We'll find out. But I think
was
you're
like,
right.
Where did you, literally I looked at the guy and said, did you have that made? He said, what? No. I was crazy.
Oh, never mind.
Yeah, but whether or not it's a one of a kind, it's a beautiful guitar. I'm actually glad it's not one of a kind, because now everybody
that's
can
true.
enjoy
If you lose it, absolutely, you can just get another one.
Everybody can enjoy it, yeah.
So let's talk about pedals. I'm a huge pedal fan. I mean, I know you're a long-time Black Star user.
Yes, that's right.
We've got the Series 1 100-watt head here, which I think is pretty similar to what... I think you use the EL34
EL34 version. Is the one I use, yeah.
So similar. Pedals-wise?
Absolutely nothing.
Really?
Not a single thing. And I'll tell you why.
Come on then.
I'll tell you why.
Because I feel bad now in the sense of, for the same reason I haven't watched Crossroads, the fact that you don't have any pedals.
No.
I should walk out the internet.
No, I'll tell you why. Because there's nothing wrong with compact pedals. I think compact pedals are amazing.
Yeah.
I've just never been a guitar player that likes to think a whole lot on stage. I don't want to be thinking about, okay, something's off in the signal chain with what needs batteries, what needs this and that. And also I don't want to be thinking, I have a solo coming up. I don't want to think, okay, I have 4 bars until my solo. Better get the compressor off, noise gate off, reverb on, delay on, boost, this, that. It's just too much math for me. It's just, all I want to be thinking about is the crowd and how, just being happy and just being on stage. So what I use for effects is a Rocktron Prophecy 2. It's actually a MIDI preamp. Yeah. So I can use it to drive everything a little harder if I want to. Yeah. I've got all that racked up in the back, and I just use a Rocktron All Access on the floor.
So you're not sequencing the changes or anything?
No.
So you're still having to remember.
Sometimes my tech also, I have a slave pedalboard in the back, so my tech does.
You can realize she's 30 yards away from the pedalboard.
She's not going to get to that.
Make it.
He does. He's pretty good.
Does he even have the wah-wah that he sits there kind of doing this, or do you do your own wah-wah?
No, I use an ADSR envelope.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it's just an auto wah.
It's an auto wah. Yeah, it's an attack wah, so it's triggered by the pick. Yeah. And so everyone thinks, because I do a solo in the Alice Cooper set where it's a lot of wah going on. Yeah. Everybody thinks my tech must be in the back moving it for me. And no, it's actually an attack wah, and I love it so much. It's actually, you have to adjust your playing, as I'm sure you know, so much with attack wah because you can't pick too much. Yeah. You sound wah, 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 wah. It sounds like a crazy person, and it's not even humanly possible to move your foot like that. So it's a lot more legato, a lot less picking, a lot more fluid style playing, which was great for me to adopt that. Cool. I really enjoyed it.
That's always been for me. That's the pinnacle when you've made it, in that you have a tech that does your own wah wah movement.
Yeah, right.
I think that's the pinnacle.
My tech Brian would.
You, I think.
My tech would. My tech Brian is so patient with me and all my gear and all my stuff, and I think it helps that I'm such a gearhead, and I know, when I first got my rack out, I had some issues. I had to change out a few things, and it was just so, he had never seen like that kind of exactly what I was using before. He's like, "What do you need me to do? Okay, what needs to go where?" I said, "Just hold the light." And he said, "Thank you." He held the light. I was like, "This, okay, main out, effects send, blah blah blah, done done done," and it's so easy. It's so easy just having a MIDI controller on the floor because it just frees up your mind.
And if you're recording, are you still very much trying to emulate the same live rig when you're recording, or do you go, Axe Effects or Kemper or something?
I use the Rocktron directly when I record.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I use the Rocktron Prophecy directly when I record. And I've actually had the exact same unit. I just got a second one as a backup, literally at NAMM this year, January of 2016. I've had my same unit since 2008. Wow. The exact same unit has been all over the world with me. Haven't even had a backup for it. And I've spent so long dialing in these sounds that they're just perfect for the way I play. Yeah. So when I record, it's really like, I could get a Kemper. I would love to have one, just to have one, and an Axe Effects and all this stuff. But really, I've spent so much time. It's like a labor of love with my preamp. So I just record directly with that. The Prophecy 2, it really, for me, it's the perfect situation.
Yeah. Well, if you got a sound that you like.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
If it ain't broke. So I really want to talk. I was saying to you before, it's always been a kind of both commercially speaking for me as someone that makes a living selling guitars. Yeah. It's always been something commercially thinking, well, if as many women play the guitar as guys do, then potentially we double the size of the sales.
Yeah, sure.
And then my little girl was born, not so long ago, 2 or 3 years ago. Aww. And since then it kind of became a bit more of a personal thing as to like, well, look, I know we can't just click your fingers and make a female Jimi Hendrix appear that'll inspire a whole generation of ladies to take up the guitar. But I'm kind of interested in you're the exception rather than the rule, aren't you? In terms of like a successful female touring guitar player.
I guess so, a little bit. I guess a little bit, and it's changing now. It really is, slowly but surely. You see this great crop of female guitar players coming out. Not just Orianthi, of course, but Irene Kitakiti and Gretchen Menn and Neely Brosh and Jen Majora, who's in Evanescence now, and Courtney and Nikki from the Iron Maidens. Like, there's so many amazing female guitar players coming out. I'm just so happy to be a part of it in some small way,
So do you think that the industry could have done something and should do something to be more engaging and make it better, or do you just think it's time and it just is naturally going to to improve in terms of numbers?
I think it's just the time. I think it just is what it is. I don't think there's anything that the industry specifically did to target male musicians over female musicians. I think it's the rock scene, the music scene that makes it more uncomfortable. There is definitely, I love to say that playing guitar in a band as a woman is exactly like playing guitar as a guy, but the reality is there are some differences. A female guitar player, if a regular looking dude guitar player gets on stage, no one's ever going to look at that guy and before he plays a note and think he's not going to be any good.
Yeah.
And that unfortunately happens to me every single time I get on stage. Oh, who's that girl? And my job is just to let them know.
Yeah.
They might walk in wondering if I can play. Hopefully they leave knowing that I can play.
So as someone, I can influence obviously the way in which our store approaches how engaging we are for women that come in. But is there anything that I'd love to know what we could do better to. It's encouraging to hear that you think it's moving in the right direction, and perhaps in another 20, 30 years' time, it will just be. It'll be completely, equal.
Listen, playing guitar is hard work. Yeah. Not everybody's cut out for hard work, and when I was in high school, I was sitting by myself. I wasn't going out with friends. I wasn't going on dates. I didn't have a boyfriend until I was 18. I was sitting at home playing guitar. I was literally sitting at home practicing guitar in my room, and it's not a lifestyle that's for everybody, males or females.
Yeah.
And I think as an industry, all people can really do is work towards treating everybody exactly the same. Whether it's in a music shop or whether it's in, anywhere, going out to clubs, going out to rock shows, going out to, or any type of music, going out to concerts, but the days when I used to walk into a Guitar Center in LA and get asked if I was shopping for my boyfriend are not really so common anymore. No. Sometimes it happens. But it used to happen every time I walked into a guitar store, and that's really not the case anymore. So it's amazing to see it going in the right direction. I know a couple of brands going back 5 or 6 years, 10 years even, did this whole let's make the guitars pink and sparkly, and I was kind of we sold some of those, and I was involved with that and thinking, well, maybe that is the way to go. But actually, I just, in hindsight, I think you're right. I think it's just about saying, look. When someone comes into your guitar store, male, female, young, old, just treat them all the same. Treat them exactly the same. Honestly, I find that whole pink and sparkly movement, I don't want to say offensive, but maybe a little offensive,
Patronizing, maybe.
Patronizing, and listen, I have a pink guitar. I know a lot of guys that have pink guitars.
Yeah, it's not the pink
I have a pink Gem 777, and I love it, and it's my dream guitar. I've always wanted one, and now I have one. But you don't need to put Hello Kitty on a guitar for a girl to buy it.
Yeah.
I had somebody earlier on this tour say to me, are you ever gonna have a signature series? And I said, well, I'm hoping to, of course, someday. And they said, make sure it has a feminine touch. And I said, what would that be? A handle, like a purse? Because then it's just a gem.
It's
I don't know what a feminine touch.
The instrument itself isn't.
Opposed to the masculine lines of how a guitar is now, it's a beautiful instrument.
Yeah, there's nothing.
It doesn't need to be feminized or masculinized.
No, I agree. And even physically as well, you think, once you hit 12, 13 years old, you're kind of big enough for a full-size instrument, guitar.
Absolutely.
So I don't see the whole. No, that's refreshing to hear.
Yeah, and I will tell you, one of the coolest experiences I've had over the last few years that I've had the chance to play these bigger shows and do these clinic tours is meeting a lot of young girl guitar players, sometimes 5, 6 years old, that and some of them have that pink guitar. They have that little pink Ibanez Micro, and it's so cute, and it actually plays pretty good. I've played a few of them before, and I say, what do you like to play? They say AC/DC, and they're banging it out, and almost every day when I'm on tour, I get a Facebook post or an Instagram post or something from a parent saying, I brought my daughter to see the show, and now she wants a guitar.
Well, that's got to be I hope so.
That's the whole reason. That's the whole reason why we do what we do.
I genuinely do. And it would be great, in 20 years' time, hopefully you won't be the exception anymore. They'll
Absolutely.
Just be normal.
I already feel less like the exception than I used to.
In fact, and even just the fact that we're talking about it, I hope in 20 years' time we don't even talk about it. Because then it's just...
Yeah, I wonder sometimes if anybody asks Greg Howe who his favorite black guitar player is. Because I get asked all the time, who were your heroes growing up? Is it Jennifer Batten, was it, you know, or not even Jennifer, usually they say, was it Lita Ford or was it Hart? You know, were you into the Runaways? And I said, no, my heroes were Steve Vai and Satriani and Paul Gilbert and Marty Friedman and Jason Becker. It never occurred to me to seek out a female role model. And then, of course, once I discovered Jennifer, Jennifer was my hero, you know, but I didn't even know who Jennifer was. And maybe, like you're saying, in 20 years' time, you won't have to seek out a female role model. They'll just be there.
Yeah. Well, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Well, look, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Likewise.
You coming over.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, 3 more days of clinics and then home for some, put your slippers on, cup of tea, or whatever you do in Los Angeles.
Home to record my solo record.
Oh, you're kidding
going
me.
straight into the studio.
There's 0 time off.
Yeah, maybe I'll go home, kiss my boyfriend, hug my dogs, maybe do some laundry, and then right into the studio.
Well, that's a rock and roll lifestyle.
Absolutely it is. I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Right. Anyway, look, I will put some information below if you want to find out more about Nita Strauss and her music. But for now, yes, thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you so much for having me.
Okay, good luck with everything.
Thank you,
See you soon.
Captain.
Thank you.